special on today's menu will be fried replica soldier in a light diesel oil and water sauce.
Yeah, I know, but I couldn't resist. By the way, I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you. Okay, we looked at the original Fear game, and it was incredible. Fear Files, a pair of add-ons to the original game, continued in that vein with some really good action, although the Extraction Point campaign was a little weak story-wise, and most of what happened in Perseus Mandate turned out to be meaningless as far as we can tell. Well, after that, Warner Brothers Games took over the franchise and produced the absolutely incredible Fear 2. We now have even better graphics, more cool weapons like incendiary grenades that spray white-hot burning phosphorus all over the place, shot grenades that lock up the enemy's armor so he can't do anything while you finish him off, a flamethrower, and many more. The controls of the Xbox 360 have been revamped to bring them more in line with current trends, and we also have subtitles so we can actually tell what people are saying. All this improvement enhances a captivating story that's loaded with more action than you can imagine. And best of all, no more dust! No more dust! No more dust! No more dust! What am I doing?
I think I'll wait.
You are all weirdos.
Yes. As I was saying, the only big change that I didn't like is the use of head bobbing when you walk. I don't care for it because sometimes it makes my eyes go goofy, but that's just me. The problem is, there's no way to turn it off. As I present this, Fear 3 has just come out, and hopefully the developers have at least made the head bob optional. The other minor flaw is the sprint command. Like practically every game out there, you use the left stick to move. But if you need to sprint, you have to click and hold it while you use it directionally. It's awkward, but fortunately you don't need to use it much, if at all. There's usually a way to do what you need to do without it. You have a PDA available that gives you extensive info on your weapons, people you encounter, your objectives, and a lot more. As you explore your environment, you can pick up information discs that tell you stuff that's happening around you and develops this part of the story. This will come in very handy later. There's one programming problem with these information discs. You pick them up during your playthrough all right, but if you go back and start the game again, even on a different difficulty setting, you still have the discs. The only way to start over again with these, at least on the Xbox 360, is either to use a different profile or delete your stored information for the game. Hopefully that's been fixed in Fear 3. The health management system has been totally revamped too. In the earlier games you could carry as many as 10 med kits and each one restored a certain number of health points. We don't have actual health points anymore. We have a health meter, which again brings us more in line with current game trends. You can carry up to 3 med kits and each one completely restores your health. But along the way, you get these little health injectors that restore a portion of your health. The good part about that is, most of them are out in plain sight so you don't have to go scrounging for them in obscure places. A lot of the time, when you kill an enemy, he'll drop one too. So there are lots of ways to keep your health up, and you rarely, if ever, need to use your actual med kits. The only problem with the health injectors is, if your health is full, you can't stockpile them for later. You just have to leave them. I'm a tightwad by nature, so that kind of hurts. Oh well. Stuff to pick up is clearly outlined in light blue boxes, so it's a lot easier to find than in the previous games too. Even better, when you kill the enemies, they drop more than just ammo. As I said, they sometimes drop health injectors, and some of them even drop grenades. I like it! You might remember from the first game that the enemies come in squads of anywhere from 3 to 5 at a time. Not anymore. Now they come in waves. How many are there in a wave? I can give you the definitive answer. One more. No matter how many you've killed, you can bet there's at least one more out there. So you have to be on guard every second. It might be frustrating for some people, but I found that it adds to the excitement and tension and makes the game that much more fun and challenging. The story is compelling. In the first game, we heard some phone messages from Genevieve Aristide, the president of Armacham Technology Corporation. They're the company that created this whole mess in the first place. From those messages, we got the distinct impression that she excels at precisely one thing: saving her own ass. Well, guess what? The authorities have gotten a call from her. She's holed up in her penthouse, hiding from an army of mercenaries who are going around destroying all evidence of Armacham's illegal activities. That evidence includes Genevieve Aristide. So, after she brings about a situation that leads to destruction of a whole city, the needless deaths of thousands of people, and a flood of really nasty paranormal attacks all over town, suddenly she's crying, "Oh, save me!" And, good law-abiding officials that we are, we're off to do it. She's being pursued by a Colonel Vanek. We never really find out who he is, except that he's the leader of some kind of private army that specializes in cleaning up other people's messes. We don't see Vanek much. In fact, the only thing we really know about him is that he uses some peculiar turns of phrase.
I was hoping you'd show up here. Now I can bury you where you belong, along with the rest of this unnatural fuckery.
Wait, what was that again?
Unnatural fuckery.
Okay, that's a great expression. Vanek and his men are going through Armacham headquarters, killing everybody in sight, destroying computers, using flamethrowers to burn files, and setting explosives to bring the whole place down once and for all. Your team consists of Lieutenant Stokes, the only woman on the team, Red Jankowski, a guy named Fox who's really just peripheral, and your leader, a guy named Griffin whom everybody calls Top. Your name is Sergeant Beckett. Jankowski insists on calling you Bucket because he doesn't want to be stuck with you. There's one in every crowd. Fox takes a bullet almost immediately, and Jankowski is tasked to stay with him. So that means you're teamed with Stokes. She has a much nicer caboose than Jankowski, so I didn't mind that at all. Call me a chauvinist if you want to. I prefer to call myself a connoisseur of feminine pulchritude. So you find Aristide, but just then this happens.
Eyes are still dilating. He's reacting to the meds. Check the dosage. Shouldn't be happening. That doesn't work.
What's going on, Dr. York?
1 moment. Hold the lidocaine and check his pressure. Damn it. Grab the crash card. It could be in V-Fit. Charge to 200. No, make them 300.
Dr. York.
He's alive, but we're moving too fast. We need
Just
to...
get inside.
That did it. Stand by with that morphine. 4 mags.
Where are we at, Dr. York?
Attack a car. We need to stabilize before progressing.
No time.
He's unstable. Progressing now would be a mistake. You're putting... Set to 300. You'll feel a little pinch. Now.
Apparently, Genevieve didn't care if you died or not, even when your heart stopped. Hell of a way to thank you for rescuing her, but that's what we come to expect from this corporate social climber. In any case, you were still at her penthouse when the explosion happened. Now you seem to be at Armacham headquarters. Everybody leaves and you have to find your way out of there. You encounter Genevieve again, and she tells you to get to the TAC lab, whatever that is. When you get there, she's with Stokes, and they put you in this chamber. But Vanek has other ideas.
Good morning, Chickpea.
Chickpea?
You must be part of Project Harbinger. Only way to explain why Aristide would have brought you here.
Commander, spotted him heading for the main entrance.
Roger that. Out of my way. Don't let them escape. Samuels, finish up here. This sucker's not going anywhere.
So you have to fight your way out of there now. Oh, goody. While all this is going on, you're having weird visions and getting occasional vertigo. Out of the blue, a mystery voice comes on your radio telling you that you're walking into an ambush. This guy calls himself Snake Fist. As you go along, he also tells you that Alma is after you and is tuned into your telesthetic signature. At this point, nobody has any idea what that means, so you and Stokes basically ignore it. Now your task is to fight your way out of this place and get to the surface before it all gets blown to hell. Stokes has lost track of Aristide and is making her own way to the surface while trying to find this self-serving bimbo again. We have another new enemy. Basically, we keep getting attacked by these human-looking things that are acting like rabid dogs. They charge up and claw at you, try to bite, all that good stuff. Soon enough, you realize that these used to be regular people. Who knows what they were doing before Armacham got hold of them and tried to make telepathic commanders out of them, but now they're mindless animals. It's not long before you figure out that shooting them is an act of mercy. Unlike several of the enemies in the first game, these guys aren't random. Armacham created them, and when their experiments failed, they just left them there. So they're part of the story. That's a nice change. Almost as quick as you fought them off, you see this. Well, I guess he won't be calling you Bucket anymore. Yuck! So on you go. Next you encounter Fox.
Stay away from her. She's mine.
Okay, that was weird. Snake Fist says Alma is after you. He has his own little turns of phrase.
You're like free pizza at an anime convention. She can smell you, and she wants to consume you.
This guy's an even bigger nerd than I am, and that's an accomplishment. So you fight your way out of the replica facility and have this conversation.
Yeah, Doc. I'm glad to be out here. That facility was built as part of Project Harbinger to turn candidates like you into replica commanders. Although it hasn't worked out too well, as Sergeant Beckett can attest. You still eavesdropping on us? Sip and listen, honeycakes.
Yeah, I'm sure a highly trained special ops officer like Stokes just loves being called honeycakes. But eventually, when you find Snake Fist and see just how big a nerd he is, you realize that saying something like that to a woman over a radio is probably as close as he's ever come to getting laid. So we can let him have his little moment in the sun.
Genevieve Aristide thinks she can contain Alma, but her plan is going to backfire. Alma is too powerful to be contained. She probably always was.
So what are we supposed to do?
Destroy her!
How?
Worry about that later. Right now, we need to focus on reaching the rally point. Get to the stadium, then we'll talk about what to do next.
Unfortunately, while you were underground, the explosion leveled half the city, so getting to the rendezvous point is going to be all kinds of fun. Alma's mad that Beckett got away, so she sends this after him. Oh yeah, we still get random new enemies. I call this one Briefcase Guy. So if you caught that, when he yells, he animates dead bodies and has them attack you. This will continue until you take the Briefcase Guy down, so concentrate on him. From there you meet newly awakened replicas, snipers, and something we haven't seen before. Elite powered armor. What's that? Take a look. Picture the Imperial walkers from the second Star Wars movie, then pump them up on several ounces of crack. Okay, maybe Snake Fist isn't a bigger nerd than I am. But I digress. Like a good game should, Fear 2 provides you with the appropriate weapons to defeat it, so on you go. Next, you get to play with the most awesome sniper rifle I've ever seen in a video game. Check this out.
Let me make a run for it. Cover me! Shit, that was close. Keep it up!
Whoa! Whatever this thing shoots, I want more. Actually, you can find out what it shoots by checking your PDA, so if you're really curious, read up on it. On your way to the rendezvous point, you come upon one of those elite-powered armor units. After you kill the replicas that are hanging around it, guess what? Yes! You get to drive it! This is one of the most over-the-top, holy cow, look what I can do, blast the bad guys into red goo weapons ever. It has 2 massive machine guns that chew the enemies into hamburger, and it has missile launchers that could probably bring down a space shuttle. The weapons are self-reloading and the armor is self-repairing. How does that work? Don't know, don't care. It's great. Yes, you can take damage and the bad guys can kill you while you're in it. But if that happens, you really weren't paying attention. If the armor's health starts to go down, just back off to a safe spot for about 15 seconds, then move on. Words fail me to describe how much fun this is. Even better, you can get in and out of it as you please. So if you've just obliterated a bunch of replicas and want to pick up some of their ammo, you can. Hop out of the armor, go gather what you want, then get back in. Of course, eventually you have to leave it behind. We don't want to make this too easy. You link up with Stokes and Griffin, but almost instantly this happens.
Griffin! Up!
Hey, man! Hey, fuck that!
You meet up with the rest of your team at your Armored Personnel Carrier, or APC as it's called. Stokes may be a little shook up.
She killed Griffin.
Who did?
Alma.
You sure about that?
I'm not sure about anything anymore.
Just about dead chicks. It's a little outside my area of expertise.
Let's focus on finding the snake fit. This will go faster if we split up. Keegan, how's that wound? You positive you're up for this?
Nothing I can't handle.
All right then, you're on recon. Don't go picking any fights. Beckett, you're with me.
So you get to be with the girl again. Cool. You all head off toward the place where Snake Fist is hiding out. Wade Elementary School. Wait a minute. Elementary school? Yep, an elementary school. Why? Well, the discs you pick up will tell you. Sort of. Very slowly. But as you go along and read them, you discover that this is not a good school to send your children to. Why? Because it's basically a front for some of Armacham's more reprehensible experiments. They're screening the kids for telepathic, or as they call it, telesthetic potential, and those that show good prospects are given supplements with their lunches. For supplements, read psychoactive drugs. These people really have no conscience at all, and they all need to spend eternity plus 100 years in the worst hell anybody can imagine. But that's not even the worst of it, at least not for you.
It's hard to see in this clip, but Beckett just found a file on himself. He's also found ones on Fox, Jankowski, Stokes, and Griffin. You know what that means.
You and your team are part of Armacham's big plan called Project Harbinger. You got the supplements when you went to this school, and that's how you ended up where you are. Your personal telesthetic abilities are the reason Alma keeps coming after you. In other words, Armacham is behind all of this, and they've manipulated your life to the point where you're exactly where they wanted you to be, and up to now you've had pretty much no control over your own life. Now I really want to find Genevieve Aristide so I can skin her alive and do lots of other very nasty things to her. That's it for part 1. Come back next time and we will see this game through to its absolutely incredible conclusion. Thanks for watching.